Hello, hello, hello. Sandy Freshy here with another video. Thank you so much for joining me. We are continuing our conversation about human design and the gene keys. And today we are talking about the activation sequence. What is the activation sequence? Now, if you want to know the background of why I'm answering these questions, there are two other videos prior to this that I will link to down below, and that will fill you in on why I was inspired to talk about human design and the gene keys. But in a nutshell, one of my very, very dear friends asked me about Richard Rudd's Gene Keys Virtual Retreat that he's doing in January, from January to April, and she was very interested in it because she heard that I was doing it too. So she had a whole bunch of questions, and here we are answering some of those questions that I answered for her the other night. So before we get started, I just want to straighten my camera here and ask you, if you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell for notifications to be notified of when I upload new videos. If you like this video, please like it, and if you know anyone else who would benefit, please share it with them. So the question, what is the activation sequence? So if you are new to the gene keys in general, what we're looking at when we are looking at the activation sequence is we're looking at this profile, this hologenetic profile that's taken from your birth information that is also related to your human design blueprint. And I know a lot of you are human design enthusiasts, and in the first video we talked about how these two relate. So go back and watch that video to kind of understand why I'm talking about the gene keys when I'm really, or my foundation and what I really share primarily is human design. I'm also a gene keys enthusiast. It has opened me up, opened my heart. It's a continuing path of evolution and growth for me. So the activation sequence is actually what you would see at the top of your human design chart. These top four themes, which are known as your incarnation cross. In the system of the gene keys, in Richard Rudd's system of the gene keys, it's known as the activation sequence on your hologenetic profile. So Richard talks about how the gene keys, the 64 keys that unlock your genetic potential, are your map for unlocking your potential, your map of yourself. And the hologenetic profile is your compass for your direction in life. And in particular with the activation sequence, it's about the direction of your life's purpose, as it is with the incarnation cross, or how it's interpreted as an incarnation cross in the human design chart. And it's also known as your prime gifts. So as you contemplate these keys in the activation sequence on your hologenetic profile, you are getting your direction for fulfilling your life's purpose, for how you can fulfill your ultimately have fulfillment in your life by living your purpose. And so the gene keys is known as your map. The hologenetic profile is known as your compass, and the golden path, which is the entire way that you sort of walk through and contemplate these keys, is known as, or as Richard says, it's your journey. It's the walk that you take to unlock your potential. So the activation sequence is known as your genius. It's the four things, the four keys that you reflect upon, that you contemplate to really get in touch with your genius. The first one is known as your life's work, and it is what you're here to do. The second key, and also let's bring this back to human design because I know a lot of you want to know. This would be the placement of your conscious sun, the gate that's in your conscious sun. So that's what you're here to do. It's kind of like what you shine out into the world. The second key on the path is known as your evolution, and it's what you're here to learn. So often there's a challenge that you experience between your life's work, what you're here to do, and what you're here to learn. So when you master what you're here to learn, then you have the breakthrough over to your, let's go back here. This piece is known as, or is the placement of your conscious earth. So then as you have your breakthrough, we're moving over to your unconscious sun, the gate in your human design chart, which is the same as this key here that is known as your radiance. And this is what keeps you healthy. So you make that breakthrough into what keeps you physically healthy. Remember, the unconscious side of your chart, the red side, the design side of your chart, is that hardwiring that you get 3 months before your birth. So it's the hardwiring for your physicality. So your radiance, as I said, is what keeps you healthy. And then as you really ground yourself, or as you really steep yourself into the energy of your radiance, and you feel more vitality, you experience more vitality, this enables you to create or to experience a sense of core stability, which then allows your purpose to emerge. And this purpose key down here is what deeply fulfills you, and it's related to, or it is in your human design chart, your unconscious earth. So it's the grounding of your experience in your body, the fulfillment and the fulfilling experience of being able to live your purpose as a human being. So the activation sequence, or what is the virtual retreat that Richard is going to be doing, is called Deep Dive into Genius. So this is going to be online. It's going to be in a Zoom conference room. If you've been over to the Gene Keys YouTube channel, you'll know that Richard has actually been doing some live stream series of hologenetic profile readings over there. You can go over and watch his process for interacting with a group virtually online. And of course, recordings will be made available if you can't make it live. I plan to be there live. I've already marked it off on my calendar, blocked it out so that I can have the real-time experience with him. I'm really excited to go through this again with Richard. I went through the activation sequence several years ago on my own because he does sell the course by itself as self-study. And this is, I believe, the first time he's ever done a retreat virtually. So I'm really, really excited to have this opportunity to engage with the Gene Keys Golden Path Journeyers and Richard on this event. So that is what it's about. It runs from January 20th to April 30th. If you go back and look at my previous videos on the difference between working with your human design chart and working with your hologenetic profile and the Gene Keys, you will know that contemplating the keys is a very different kind of experience from learning about the mechanics of your human design chart. And it tends to allow you the space to emerge or to bloom, at least that's my experience, into a deeper experience with yourself. So whether or not you are a human design enthusiast, if the Gene Keys speaks to you, or if you have been wondering about your incarnation cross, or maybe you've studied your incarnation cross and it's still not making that much sense to you, I invite you to check out the Deep Dive into Genius virtual retreat with Richard, because you will get that opportunity and that space with him and with the group to unfold your purpose in a way that is relevant and revelatory, that gives you your own revelations about what fulfills you, what creates your radiance, your health and vitality, what contributes to that, how to, or what your life challenge is, or the thing that you really need to work on, or to work with, to have that fulfillment of your purpose as you live your human life. So I'm going to leave a link, my link for Deep Dive into Genius. Actually, I'm going to leave a link for generally what the Gene Keys is about. And I think on that page right now, Deep Dive into Genius is the top thing on there. And you can read about it, or you can dive into other aspects of the Gene Keys if you like. This journey through the Gene Keys is usually very, very personal, and there aren't really a lot of rules to it. The hologenetic profile may be the compass to get you to move in a certain direction, but it's not necessarily the only way that you can take the journey. So I'm really delighted to share a little bit about the Gene Keys with you as we move forward into 2020. So if you've had an experience with the Gene Keys, or if you have questions about human design or the Gene Keys, please leave a comment below, please leave a question below, and we'll keep this conversation going. So until the next time that we talk, be well.